Season of the Splicer has been quite the experience thus far. Not only has the season introduced a slew of really good weapons into the loot pool, but it's also introduced a bunch of new activities like more master law sectors, as well as the Vault of Glass, which has heavily impacted the usability of a lot of weapons in the sandbox. Today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 most used legendary weapons inside of Destiny's PvE for this season thus far. These weapons are going to be listed starting at 10 and going to 1, and all this data comes from the website Destiny Tracker. I'll also be going over how to get these weapons, as well as why they're in the top 10 and what makes them desirable to begin with, as well as some god rolls here and there. Before jumping into it though, this video idea comes from the man himself, Rick Cacus, as he first did a video of this kind back in Beyond Light, and I was like, yo, that's a really cool video idea. I kind of want to do one of my own, so I figured I'd give him credit where credit is due, and you can find his link in the description. Moving on though, if you guys do enjoy the video today and you're already not subscribed, definitely feel free to beat the shit out of the subscribe button down below, as I'd absolutely love to have you here on the channel. Without further ado though, let's hop into the video and start things off with the number 10 most used PvE weapon this season, Extraordinary Rendition. This gun right here was the flagship weapon for PvE during Season of the Chosen, and it's no wonder why it's staying relevant an entire season later. It can be gotten from the Battlegrounds playlist, which is found with the Vanguard Strikes, or focused at the Umbral Decoder. Rendition is a best in slot pick when it comes to kinetic SMGs, as it's an aggressive frame, which is one of the best all around for SMGs, and it also comes with great perk synergy in both the first and second columns. In the first column, we have the likes of Overflow, which will overfill your magazine when picking up things like special ammo, as well as Subsistence, which actually received not only a generalized buff, but also a buff specifically to benefit SMGs even more. This perk feeds bullets into your mag as you get kills, and it's one of my personal favorites. To play off of these perks, we also have a slew of damage perks in the second column. We have Multi-Kill Clip, Rampage, Frenzy, and One for All, and any of these perks are great picks if you end up getting one. High damage output on top of constant firing thanks to perks like Overflow and Subsistence make Rendition an S tier pick in PvE, and is absolutely deserving of the number 10 spot. Moving on from the Rendition into the number 9 spot, we have a new face that just hit the scene this season, and that's actually the Ignition Code Grenade Launcher. Now, this weapon has been touted by some as Destiny's new mountaintop, and to a degree, I'd have to agree with the statement. This weapon is busted. Ignition Code has two main things going for it. Not only is it one of the only lightweight frame GLs in the game that's kinetic, but it also comes from a one-of-a-kind perk for GLs, which is Slide Shot. This perk instantly reloads your mag upon sliding and allows for one of two things. The first of which is fantastic boss damage once you've ran out of things like heavy ammo and super energy when using a role like Spike Nades, Slide Shot, and Vorpal. You could also use this weapon for ad clear by having a more generalized perk, but I feel as though weapons like Empty Vessel already do that better, so let's play into the strengths of Ignition Code. Slide Shot is going to allow for a constant volley of grenades on the target of your choice, thanks to how quick you can pull it off, and Vorpal is going to give you that damage increase to boss type enemies. You can also go with something like Blinding Nades, Slide Shot, that will allow you to constantly keep everything in the room blinded, while also speccing into something like a damage perk to kill ads at the same time. Ignition Code is one of the strongest weapons D2 has seen in a while, and you can get this bad boy from the Override activity or the Umbral Engrams. Moving on over to number 8, we have one of the best feeling rapid fire frame autos in the game, the Chroma Rush. This also can be found inside the Override activity, and it's probably one of the most surprising weapons from Season of the Splicer. Never would I have thought that I'd like a 720 this much, yet here we are with Chroma Rush. It feels like an absolute blast to use, it has laser-like accuracy, and it comes with fantastic perks to boot. You can roll with the likes of Feeding Frenzy or Subsistence in the first column, and Kill Clip or Rampage in the second. This auto definitely surprised me when I first picked it up, and for good reason. It feels good to use and shoot, and once a damage perk is active, you're just gonna melt through the opposition. I've always liked 720 auto rifles, but this one right here puts 720s on a whole new pedestal. You have weapons like the Garden of Salvation auto and the Europa auto, but they don't even come close to touching the Chroma Rush in my opinion, and all 720s should follow suit of this weapon. It already feels good once you first start firing, but when you get that damage buff, this weapon just goes crazy. Now, moving on over to the number 7 spot, we have a more traditional weapon in the D2 sandbox, and that is going to be the Falling Guillotine. This weapon is found in the World Loot Pool and has been a fan favorite ever since Season of Arrivals. It's a vortex frame sword, allowing it to do great burst damage when needed, and this is especially useful on boss type enemies and champions. Taking a look at the perks, going with either Jagged Edge or Honed Edge in the first slot is your best bet for added damage. You want to go ahead and kind of ignore the second slot, which is basically just guards. Nobody really guards that much with a sword, so it doesn't really matter what you get there. To the next slot though, we have Relentless Strikes, which is going to give you more ammo the more you hit a target, as well as Whirlwind Blade, which will synergize with this, as it's going to give you bonus damage on those rapid hits as well. There's not much else to say about Guillotine. Despite the many sword nerfs that Bungie has tried to add to the game, Guillotine stays on top as one of the best burst DPS weapons in the game, and it's absolutely deserved. I have a feeling we'll be seeing more of this weapon for a long time to come. Now, moving on over to the number 6 spot, we have the best pursuit weapon Bungie has added thus far, and that's the Salvager Salvo. This weapon is the poster child of lightweight frame GLs. It's easily obtained through a quest with the Gunsmith. It comes with the likes of Ambitious Assassin and Chain Reaction to allow for great ad clear potential, and you can combine this weapon with Energy Accelerant from the seasonal artifact to get even more damage from your Chain Reaction explosions as well. This weapon is easy to obtain, easily S tier, and can be buffed further with mods. What's not to love about it? Now, even though I do like Empty Vessel more because I'm more of a fan of Warmind cells, this weapon right here, simply being as good as it is, as well as being easily obtainable and no need to farm for a god roll, definitely makes this weapon very good for the majority of players, and I definitely suggest using it. Now, moving on over to number 5, we have in my opinion the best overall kinetic sniper rifle, the Succession from Deepstone Crypt. Although weapons like Praetus Revenge from VoG excel in boss DPS, Succession simply has more flexibility, and it's why it's my preferred weapon overall. This weapon is an aggressive frame, and it's also kinetic, making it perfect for things like Nightfalls, as you want to normally rock an energy primary. It also comes with fantastic rolls like Lead from Gold, which is excellent for Grandmasters, or Reconstruction, which will passively fill the magazine upwards to double its original size, getting to around 8 bullets in total with the right magazine. Of course, the last column perk, you want to have Vorpal for the extra damage, and then you have yourself the perfect sniper rifle. Succession was much better last season thanks to things like Anti-Barrier Sniper Rifle being a mod, but that doesn't exactly take away from this weapon's greatness. It's definitely deserving of a top 5 spot in the most used PvE weapons, and personally, one of my favorite sniper rifles of all time, including Destiny 1. Now, moving on to number 4, we have a weapon that absolutely surprised me, and that's the Vision of Confluent Scout Rifle from the Vault of Glass. This weapon right here belongs to the weakest scout archetype, which is precision frame, yet feels miles above its peers thanks to being energy, its feel when using, and its fantastic perks. Taking a look at the perks, you have the likes of Rewind Rounds in the first slot, which allows you to deal fantastic sustain damage, as this perk will refill your magazine based on the number of shots hit on a target. You also have a slew of great options in the second column as well, things like Firefly for Warmind cells, Disruption Break for GMs, as well as Frenzy and Kill Clip for damage. This weapon right here is a flagship scout that all weapons should follow as an example, and that being said though, I'm still very surprised to see it get this much use in Destiny, but it's well deserved as it's one of the best in the game in my opinion, and this is all without considering that scouts may end up getting a buff in the future, so we might see Vision of Confluence get even better with time, but we'll just have to wait and see. Moving on over to the top 3, we have Destiny's most iconic primary weapon of all time, the Fatebringer. This weapon comes from the Vault of Glass, and it is of the 140 archetype. Fatebringer is what happens when you take a hand cannon and make it as likable as possible. You want explosive rounds? Sure. You want rounds that feed back into your magazine? Why not? You want kills that cause enemies to explode? Yeah. You want a damage boost after killing once you reload? Absolutely. I don't know what else to say. This weapon is just a step above the rest. It has great casual PvE use, as well as great high-end PvE use. Fatebringer is great, and you should definitely be rocking this bad boy. It's very awesome to see it in the top 3. It just kind of goes to show how many people have been raiding as of late, but with something like Fatebringer up for grabs, I'm not exactly surprised that so many people are going out, getting this thing, and using it. It's one of the best hand cannons in the game, in the franchise even, and I'm really glad to see it break top 3, only 3 weeks into the new season. Moving on over to the second spot, we actually have 2 weapons, as I wanted to combine them into one, since they're practically the same weapon. We have the Precision Frame Shotgun's Heritage, which comes from the Deepstone Crypt, as well as First In Last Out, which is in the World Loot Pool. These weapons have always been high in usability, thanks to their archetype being the only one worthwhile whenever it comes to shotguns. Specifically though, these weapons are seeing a lot of use in the Templar encounter of Vault of Glass, as they're fantastic for overall DPS, and that's probably why they're in the number 2 spot. Rocking these weapons with some kind of auto-loading perk as well as a damage perk in the second slot is the way to go. Make sure you have Assault Mag as your magazine for extra rate of fire, and you're pretty much good to go. These slug shotties have been meta for quite a while, and I don't see them stopping anytime soon. Every other shotgun archetype in PvE is practically near useless outside of just using it for fun, and these precision frames have been meta for quite a while. These are 2 of the best precision frames that we've seen. Combine that with the fact that Templar is a really good encounter to get use out of these bad boys, and you kind of see why they're at number 2. Now, moving on over from our number 2 spot, we have our crowned winner of the most used PvE weapon of Season of the Splicer, the Ikelos SMG. Was there really any doubt in anyone's minds? I mean, the Ikelos SMG belongs to the aggressive frame archetype, it's energy, it's from the World Loot Pool, making it easily obtained, and it naturally spawns Warmind cells as long as you have at least one Warmind cell mod equipped. Combine that with its great perk selection, great overall feel and damage output, and you have yourself the breadwinner for all PvE activities inside of Destiny 2. This weapon has been a crowned champion since Season of Arrivals, and even if we see a nerf to Warmind cells, I don't think that'll slow the Ikelos SMG hype train, as it's just a great weapon overall for anything and everything PvE in my opinion, and it absolutely deserves its spot as the number 1 most used PvE weapon this season. But guys, that is pretty much it for this video. We ended up doing the top 10 most used PvE weapons, technically top 11 because we had 2 in the number 2 spot, but we went over a ton of weapons in today's video. We showed, which ones were the most used thus far this season, went over how to get these weapons, what the roles are, what makes them good to begin with, and I hope that if you are a beginner player and you're just trying to figure out, what kind of weapons you should be keeping your eyes on, I hope that this video did teach you something, and if you're one of those viewers that already knows what's good and was just curious, I appreciate you watching this video as well, and I hope you found it entertaining. If you did make it to this point in the video though, I definitely appreciate your face. Like, I definitely appreciate your face. Watch time goes a really long way here on YouTube, and if you watch this video all the way to the end, dude, just type in the freaking comments like penis monkey or some kind of comment that'll separate you from the rest, you know what I'm saying? Just so I know who my real ones are. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna stop being stupid now. I'm gonna wrap the video up, so thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for the growth that I've been getting here on YouTube as of late as well. The YouTube channel has been popping off in terms of views, in terms of new people, comments, subscribers, everything in between. For me to do this as my full-time job is an absolute blessing, and you guys have been making that easier than ever, especially as of late since the new season started. But yeah guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you all next time.